First up is K, and yeah, this is looking alright. I like the dress, looks good. Um, looks like you just kind of threw an image on there as opposed to trying to specifically map it to the UVs, but it seems to work. Except for the giant seam here down the middle. Um, what I would see for that is although I guess maybe you did paint it with that in mind, except it's kind of showing up a lot here. So it looks like some things were adjusted for that, but some weren't. But anyways, what I would tend to do is I would sew that and then unfold again. Oh, that didn't do so good. Maybe split it down the back where we won't see it as much. Or on the sides where it's sort of a natural seam is actually more likely what I would do. Cut and then Control U. Probably need something around the neck and shoulders, because that's not working. Yeah, so probably need to cut off each arm. Let's see if we can turn on symmetry. Nope, it's not working. Okay, and then cut those, and then I would go from here to the it just goes up to there. Maybe this one? Yeah, maybe that's better. Here to here. And then cut that. And here to here. Cut that. Let's try unfolding that. Control U. Yeah, I think that's going to work better. Control L for layout. Scale it in a tiny bit. Okay. I don't know why this arm is so much bigger than the other arm. It's weird that they unfold didn't do a better job. Apparently I didn't manage to cut something here. Probably here. So I just cut those. And maybe I need to get in here and cut those. Where is that anyway? Oh, that's under the arm. Or not. Oh, just right there, I see. Alright. That should help. Let's try that again. Control U. This looks like it's going to be better. Okay. That's more proper. So now, let's see what happened to our texture now. Hilarious. It's as if, let's delete history off of that. I don't know why it's still showing the history on here. It's weird. Edit, delete by type, history. It's not deleting it. Very interesting. That's strange. does still seem to have that texture map to it, but it's not showing it. Let's just assign a new material. Wait, we have a seam down the front again? I was sure I got rid of that. Weird. Okay. I don't know why the texture is not showing up on this. Let's try assign new material Lambert and then map that file on there again. Okay, I don't know what happened before. So the thing about that is that you did do some work to deal with those seams, but and now, you know, I didn't think we put a seam down the back. I thought we put seams on the sides. Anyway, I would tend to get seams on the sides. Oh, I guess there was a seam down the back. And I thought I cut through to the shoulders here too. Because I think what we want is that and this, you know, somewhere on the shoulder, cut those. But that, this back seam sewn and lay that out again. Unfold. Let's get cut here. Get those separated. Okay. So now you don't have any obvious seam on the front except for what's in the texture itself. And, you know, the back, I mean, yeah, there's seams there, but that's where seams would naturally be on clothing. So it's not as, you know, because the fabric has to be sewn together somewhere. And then when you're typically looking at the front of the character, you don't have anything interrupting the pattern. So anyways, that was a little sloppy, but you get the, this is how I would cut the UVs for that. You had some question about the eyeball. You didn't like how it looked. I would, let's take a look at the, I would probably lose the marble. I don't think you really want that. And then for the ramp, I mean, you had an example here. So I would use that as reference. You know, it looks like, I don't know if that's, I don't think that's supposed to be a highlight. I think that's supposed to be the actual eye. But, you know, black to light purple to darker to lighter to darker. So I would do a ramp that looks something like that. You know, start black to, this will be that. Let's see, whatever that is, that light purple. Maybe like that. And then immediately to a much darker purple. Just drag that down. And then kind of a lighter, less saturated one here. I might grab from this. But let's you know, lose some of that saturation. And then it gets dark at the edge, but it has a sharp edge. It looks a little crazy. I think that this needs, whoops, didn't mean to do that. This needs to be smaller. That could be tighter to that. And let me change this to smooth. That's not really better. Probably just need to, if we take that out, it's a little better. Or maybe I just do something a little bit more subtle here. You know, maybe you want to move it so you get that ring around there like you had. Something like that, maybe. So I think that's a little closer to what you had in that design. Alright, so yeah, besides that, everything's looking alright. Not really loving the shoe texture. That just looks kind of weird to me. I would try something else for that. This looks okay, up close anyway. Looks fine. So yeah, maybe something different for the shoes, adjust the eye ramp, and then I would get rid of that seam, at least the seam down the middle of the dress. Next up is Nathan, and if I go to open scene and go to set project, let me just go back up. So you've got all these different folders, and the reason for that is that it's got your source images spread out in these different places. Not sure what you're doing in Blender. Well, it looks like you did some stuff in Substance Painter, which is cool, I guess. And you did some stuff in Mudbox. So the thing is that all these images here should be in the source images directory of your Maya project. So make sure you copy these over first, and then set your project in Maya. So anyway, I'm setting the project in Maya, which is this character model thing, and then I'll open the scene, and I'm not seeing the texture, so I have to relink those because they weren't properly put in the source images directory. So I'm going to go find them, so color, and then here's the file, and I can see it's in the Mudbox directory, and it's called Channel Vest Diffuse. So I'm going to browse for that, go back up, Mudbox, Channel Vest Diffuse, open, and make sure I hit 6, okay, and it's smart enough to relink the other things in that folder. So we got a lot back, and then this guy, let's see, that one is in the Substance Painter folder, and you can see it's looking for it in your own G drive, I think. So sci-fi character, and if you put it in the source image directory, it just has a local directory. I think there's something about that. I think there's something about this in the lesson. I'm sure there is. So sci-fi character head base color. So let's go back up and go into your Blender. No, head base color. Open. Okay. And did it find everything? I think so. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I think the textures you've got going here are really good. It looks like you already have things like specular maps on here, which is pretty cool. Why did that go away? That was very strange. Just from selecting it. Odd. Color map. Bump map. Oh, I thought there was, oh yeah, there's specular cosine power map. Interesting. Okay. What happened to this? Channel torso diffuse. Okay, I don't know. I think some of that's, again, you just got to get all those in the source images directory and make sure they're all linked up properly. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to criticize in this. I think this is pretty advanced. Obviously, if you're using Substance Painter, you know what you're doing. You might want to get into Mudbox and use the the stamp thing to get rid of some of these seams. That could be an area for improvement, like the seam down the back here and the front here. Um, but yeah, this is really good advanced work. You may or may not want to get rid of. Actually, I don't see a seam there. I thought I saw a seam on the side there. Yeah, it's great. It's really good work. Yeah, nice job. I don't honestly have that much to say about it. It's very good work, really advanced stuff. Just to get the project folder stuff right, get everything in the source images directory. This is Natalie. Yeah, so I'm not sure I would call this textured because what it looks like is you just have a color assigned to it, so that you should come up with what you want the texture to look like. Also, I went over how to fix these fingers and attach the shoulder and the hand and all that, feet and stuff, in module 4's review. So I don't know if you're watching these or not, but I hope you are, and you should really check them out. So I might go back to module 4 to fix the model, but besides that, I would say it's not really textured, it's just a color map. So you'll want to go in and texture them, and also I would say the face is a little unfinished without the nose and all that kind of stuff. And so you have some model fixes as well. Maybe go a little smaller on the hands and feet. I think that would help. I mean, it is possible to use this model. I just think it's, could use some, without a ton of work, you could have some nice improvements and come up with what kind of texture. Maybe it's a lizard-like texture, maybe it's snake-like, maybe it's fish-like, maybe it's, you decide. Maybe it's just like skin-like but green, but come up with a texture you want and put it on there. Next up is Julia, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. Maybe some kind of texture on the hair, even if it's more kind of graphical than just a solid color. You've got some. Oh, that's part of the texture, is it? That looks kind of weird. A little rough. I wonder what the. Is it kind of a low resolution texture, maybe? It's called Pants UV JPEG. Let's take a look at that in Photoshop. So this image is 1024 by 1024, which isn't too small, but you can see there's not much resolution there. So you might go with, I would go at least 2048 by 2048, maybe 4096 by 4096, and you won't have as much trouble. But even then, I think with what you have here, you could sort of clean this up. If I took like a brush that was a little big with that's nice and soft, and I can maybe a little smaller, I could just soften this edge. Well, I'm not doing a great job of it, but maybe I want to go the other direction, like a rubber stamp, S for rubber stamp, Alt, click, and then I guess I need to go kind of small. I'm just holding down Shift just to kind of speed things up. It's not doing a great job, but anyways, take your time with it. But you could get it here, and you could get sort of some cleaner, less pixelated looking lines even without. I'm just picking different areas of that. Even without increasing the resolution of this. Oops. Because you've got these weird, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but those weird little dots coming off the edge, and it looks like a mistake anyway. So I'm just going to save this and go back to Maya, and then in the file there's should be reload here somewhere. Let's see. So you can see, I'm just going to isolate these. So you can see, I didn't do that clean of a job with it, but you can see that, you know, at least I don't have all these weird dots here. It's just less noticeable, you know, so you could kind of clean up those edges a little bit, make that a little nicer. Shoes, kind of an extreme texture. One thing you could try is on the file, you can goof around with stuff like color balance, and I don't know that I want to do that, but I can make it darker, or I think there's a way to kind of decrease the contrast here. Maybe not so much. You can certainly make it a little darker, which in itself sort of decreases the contrast. But I might consider, you know, in Photoshop, what's the file called? Shoes UV. That's not doing a great job. Yeah, I was thinking more like that. You know, I can make it a little brighter if I want, but just less contrast. Save that and go back to Maya, and I guess just look at this one and reload, and let's see if you like that any better. I don't know, maybe it's not great. You've got some stretching here too, not a big deal because you might not notice that, but that's to do with your UV map, I think. So yeah, it's okay. I think you could get some cleaner stuff here and there and add some stuff to the hair, but you know, you've got some of the basics going on here, so that's good. Yeah, I don't know why you've got all these seams in here. Again, you might want to just clean that up in Photoshop. Frankly, this looks like just a solid color to me anyway. It doesn't really look like painted, so I don't see any variation on it, unless I'm missing something. So there's, in a way, there's not really a reason to have a texture map down there unless you're really going to paint some differentiation in the color. So yeah, high resolution would help you cleaning up some of the seams. Yeah, and I think, you know, don't make everything shiny. So, you know, turn off the specular for some of this stuff. I think it'll look better. Like, I don't think any of this would be shiny. The shoes will be a little shiny, but maybe you want to less, maybe. Same with the hair. Okay. Okay, this is Candace, and yeah, I think it's cool that you've done like a custom paint job on the clothing to show the veins of the leaves. I might have gone with the photo, but it's kind of an interesting stylized thing you've done. I think that what is sort of missing is the skin, at least looks like. I'm just going to delete the history there. Alt-Shift-D. Oh, there is a texture map on there. Body, huh? It just really looks like a solid color to me. Oh, it's not showing my texture image. Let me see what it looks like in Photoshop. So yeah, it mostly is a solid color with just, you know, kind of a touch here and there. Don't know what those are. that's a bit hard to tell because I don't know. Usually it shows the texture image in the background, unless I have it turned off on one of these. What was that? Show or hide the texture image. Yeah, that should be it. I don't know. Anyway, the point of the story is to, I think, paint more variation in the skin, maybe kind of differentiate the lips a little bit, look for just other variations around the eyes, cheeks, you know, maybe hands. So for the most part, it is a solid color. And then some, you know, paint something in the hair as well. I mean, it looks like you've got some color variation in here. Just delete the history, and there is in fact a texture map on there, so that's good. But I think maybe just more like seeing kind of the streaks of hair might be nice. So yeah, good. Clearly you're hand painting stuff, and that looks good, but just more variation in skin and hair. So this is Shelly, and yeah, these jeans are looking pretty good. So that's nice. But oh, and you got some sweater thing going on here too, although yeah, I guess that's all right. I would, you know, have kind of try to orient it to the different sections so it's kind of fits the shape of the sweater more. But I might at least, I guess, rotate the, you know, to get the front looking more straight. I think that would look better, even if the arms are a little wacky now. Maybe different around the neck. And yeah, nothing here yet. Oh, it looks like the head's all sliced up. So the head hasn't been, well, it's not done modeling yet. Yeah, I mean, you may want to switch over to the stock model, which, just for everyone's sake, is in this here, and I can do more as we go forward. But that's the whole project folder there with the, you know, a textured model, and then, you know, later if people are having struggle rigging, I can give you a rigged model as well. Okay, next up is Warren, and yeah, this is looking really good. Might do something less shiny here. Less don't want the file. Oh, the specular color is all the way down. Interesting. Just maybe it's because it's a font. I don't know. I would have. Oh, you've mapped reflectivity here. Well, I would turn this down. Looks like you've already started to turn it down. Yeah, that's a little less shiny, I think. Got a bit of a seam here. Not sure why. I don't really see a big change in the color there, unless the wireframe is like distracting me from seeing the difference, but I don't see it. Maybe I should open that in Photoshop. Head diffuse. Yeah, that's interesting because I'm not seeing any seam here, so don't quite know what's going on there. But yeah, I would say you can paint some more color variation. It's a bit too even. So lighter in some areas, darker in some areas. I might hide these eye reference things, Control H, so you can see the eyes better. Yeah, they look pretty cool. got it some texture on there. Maybe you want to get some sense of seams in there too, you know, like show some how that was constructed. I also just think just maybe some, not much, but just some wear and tear. Maybe some seams on this too, like showing, you know, a seam where the arm attaches and would be helpful, and you know, other little sort of stitching or something. I like the socks more because they show a little more variation in wear and tear, where this looks like just a very solid color. And it doesn't have to be dirty and dingy, but just, you know, more seams, more enough to make it kind of real. You know, you went pretty far with the weathering on the shoes, but then this looks sort of perfect. So I think, you know, it should have some of that wear and tear. It'll look good. Yeah, so overall you've done a nice job. You said something about the back of the head or something. Let's just isolate this and maybe you just want to soften, shift right mouse click, soften, soften, and that's, yeah, there is something a little weird going on here. I do agree. Let's shift right mouse click, polygon display, toggle backface culling. Thought maybe there'd be some extra surfaces in here or something that told us what the heck is going on and why we're seeing that. It's got to be something about the surface, because jeez. I mean, this color doesn't change here. Yeah, I mean, certainly it's on the edge there. That's interesting. Is there like any other maps on this? Is there like, there's the bump map. I bet it's the bump map. Or the specular map that's doing this weird color variation stuff we're getting. So let's try getting rid of these one at a time. I'll try getting rid of the spec map. Okay, no, let's leave that on there. And then let's try getting rid of this bump map. Yeah, I think that's... So I think that bump map has somehow got some weird seams in it. And head normal. So let's look at that in Photoshop. Head gloss, normal. Ha! Boy, I sure can't see it with my eyes. So, I don't know. Could be that there's something in there that's doing that. With the fact that when we broke it, it went away, kind of tells me that is the case. I don't know that this is doing that much for you anyway, is it? Really? Yeah, I mean, when I break those, all those problem goes away, but it has to do with those maps. But yeah, overall this looks really good. Okay, next up is Yijin, and yeah, yeah, I think this looks good. Sweater looks nice. You've got some fabric on the collar. You've painted some variation on the face. Maybe a little on the saturated side for the colors there, but that's all right. Yeah, you got some variation on the hands as well. Some wear and tear on the jeans, which is good. Pockets maybe a little bit low. One thing you can do actually with that is, I mean, you can fix the texture, but you can try fixing it with the UVs and see if you can get a good result. So let me just show you what I mean. Let's see. It looks a little squashed when I do that, but oh yeah, it's really squashing it. Maybe I need to put on soft select and move a little bit more with it. It's kind of squashing it, but so let's see, compare the two now. Yeah, it kind of did a number on that area. Anyway, you can play with that because right now that looks a little stretched and low. But besides that, yeah, it looks good. I like what you've done with the hair, eyes. Hide these just to see it better. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, good job all around. Maybe something a little more with the shoes instead of just. Oh, I guess you got some leather texture there. Yeah, that looks all right. Yeah, good work all around. Okay, next is Anton, and yeah, this looks good. I think I would probably tone down the bump map a bit here. Oh, there's no bump map? That surprises me. I thought you'd have a bump map on there because it looked like there was a bump map. But I guess that's just all in the texture. That look. Okay. And yeah, the shirt looks all right. You might want to give a sense of seams, you know, where the arms connect. And a couple other spots would be good. The hair worked out well, I think. The eyebrows good. Might kind of lower the contrast to that a bit. It's probably too bright, but maybe we can darken some of those a little bit. I don't know. Probably went too bright on that first one, but yeah, maybe just something a little less contrasty like that. Yeah, so I think overall you're doing good. I like these leggings. They're nice. Did you get a texture on the shoe? It's kind of subtle, but that's alright. Maybe a separate color for the sole and for the rest of the shoe. Some painting on the face, that's good. Alright, let's take a look at your different questions you had. Okay, error exporting scene from Mudbox to Maya. Okay, so the thing is that if you're in Mudbox, you don't have to you know, use the send to Maya thing. You can just right mouse click on a, I guess let's just do an example. Let's send something to Mudbox. Unsupported maps. anyway, let's say you painted this here, and then you can right mouse click and export selected, and export a JPEG, put it in your source images directory, and then when you go back to Maya, you can go to your thing here and then map the file that you've just saved to there. So you don't have to use the send back to Maya. You can do it sort of manually like that. So hopefully that you don't have to worry about the error message there, if that's what you're asking. Duplicate mesh, I delete it. Yeah, I'm not sure why. But again, I think that if you instead of sending it back to Maya, if you just exported the layers like I was showing and then mapped them to the surfaces, you wouldn't have that issue. I don't know why it's happening, but paint on top of the smooth mesh. Couldn't make the lips. I was painting on the rough mesh. The strokes were inaccurate. I think so. No? Let's see. Okay, well, it's got some problems. Well, let's just keep it and see what happens. And I think you should be able to go here, select it, go 3, maybe not. I guess what I would say is if you're having trouble with that, I would go in and touch it up in Maya. In Photoshop. Open it up in Photoshop. I thought that it could do smooth preview in here, but maybe not. Yeah, I guess that's right. I guess you can't. So yeah, if you can't get an accurate painting there, then you could always fix it in. The other thing you could do actually is you could, because this is smooth preview, you could do an actual smooth, which is, I think, is this one. Nope. Let's reduce. Is it this one? Yeah. So you could actually smooth it temporarily and then do your painting on the smooth one. But what you'll find is, let me just show you this real quick. Let me just undo. So you see that your maps, when you smooth it, everything stays pretty much lined up the same. So it's really, everything's really in the same position, it's smooth. And so then you could send that to Mudbox. And then you have this smoother thing to paint on. Where's my brush? I'm just going to make it bright red so we can see it really well. You could get a little, actually, that pixelation has to do with the texture resolution that you have. So you might want to go higher texture resolution. So that's not pixelated. But anyways, and then when you sent it back, so let's see if the send to Maya is working. Yeah, it worked. But the thing is, now that I've done that, I can either, I don't know if undo would work, but what I could do, it might, you can see if I undo, might actually undo the send to, whoa, that didn't work. Okay. What we could try is, we can get rid of the smooth, so go into the attribute editor, and go on get this one first, select, delete, and where's that other one? Smooth face, select, delete. Yeah, so now It's just a smooth preview. It's not the actually smooth surface, but you got the painting. So that seems like a big workaround, but it's not that big of a deal. You could, if I didn't send it back to Maya, if I just exported it, I could go into Maya, undo my smooth. It probably wouldn't have goofed up like that, and then map it. Just remap the color to him. Oh yeah, more questions. That was number 3. Center the character if it got changed. So that's a good question. So I'll just do it for one surface. So let's say it's this one. What I would do is look for something that should be on the center line, like something on the crotch or something like that. Although this does not look perfectly symmetrical. But let's say this is perfectly the center line right here. Hold down D and V. Middle mouse drag to snap to that, and I can click on this X thing, and in the front view, just in this direction, hold down X, and you can see I can get that to line up to exactly the center grid line here. So I hold down X, and and it'll snap that. So first I put the pivot point along the center line, and then I snap it to the center line. And if you have to do it, in other directions too, you could find maybe a spot like there or something that should be centered front to back, hopefully. But centered left to right, that's how you can do it. It says, why is it rendering the rough mesh and not the smooth one? And the reason for that is my renderer will not recognize a smooth preview. You can see this render and it's rough. If you look at the render settings, you've got my software renderer. My hardware 2.0 will recognize smooth preview. Arnold renderer will recognize smooth preview. My renderer does not recognize smooth preview. You also asked about the pale colors. That has to do with the color management thing. If you turn that off, you can see the proper colors on there. It has to do with this sRGB thing. You can change that to raw. If you turn it on now with raw, you won't see that pale thing. And that's a fairly big topic, the whole color management, and I'm not even going to get into it. Yeah, that's why that's happening. Yeah, so you don't have to repaint it. Okay, so hopefully that answers your questions. And yeah, you're doing good. Okay, this is Jesse, and yeah, I think that denim is working pretty well. I think that some of your stuff looks just like solid colors, like this, and yet you do have a color map to it, which is Mario's shirt. But then I looked at it in Photoshop, and it appears to just be a red solid color. So I would consider painting some variation in that. Looks like you got a little variation in the face color. But I think let's get some painting on the gloves and some variation in the shirt. The eyes should be spherical because, like, for example, if you look down, that's not going to work. And it might look a little weird going left and right too, just the way the eye kind of moves out of the head. So you should do spherical shaped eyes, not oblong like you have it. And yeah, some additional painting on the hat would be good. You mentioned some issues with Mudbox. Once I imported in Mudbox, gloves would have moved to Mudbox. I don't know, let's see if we can get it to work. Looks okay. Make sure there's no history on it, okay. And I'll give it a shot. I might not have any better luck, but send as new scene, don't save. Keep this mesh. Okay, nothing. Mario face. Sometimes it puts it in like a weird spot, but probably not this time. One thing, yeah, so we could try mesh cleanup, And lamina faces, non-manifold, edges with 0 length, faces with 0 length, apply, close, send it now. Still doesn't like it. UV faces crossing tile boundaries. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Let's take a look at your UV maps. Why am I not seeing the... Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's... I think maybe because you're not in quadrant 1 could be the issue. See if that's what it is. That would be nice if it was that simple. Well, it didn't give us that error, but it's still not showing up in here. So the next thing I would try is just something to try is file, export selection, and you could try, like, see, let's just try OBJ export and call this hand. And I don't know if Mudbox can just import that. Let's do the new scene. Can we import hand? Okay. Oh, it's doing something weird with the normals though. But we are getting it in there. Yeah, it's like inside out essentially. I wonder if you can like reverse normals in Mudbox. I don't think so. If you, yeah, I just don't know Mudbox well enough to know if you can. Yeah, but what I think is happening is the normals are reversed, and that's why it's coming out like that. So, which actually makes me think, I wonder if the normals are reversed on this, and that's why we're having a problem to begin with. It'll be interesting. Display polygons. Where's the face? Where's the normals here? Face normals. Oh, it sure does look like it's in the right direction. Where's the reverse normals? Normals, reverse. Yeah. No, they were, I think they were, well, one thing you can try, actually, another little, you can do normal set to face, and then, but I don't think that did anything. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be changing it at all. Could try importing the OBJ and is that the OBJ then? I think it is. And we still got the UV map and anything, and now that it's gone through that, now, so yeah, but let's display the normals. Display polygon. They do seem reversed. Okay. So reverse, yep, that looks better. Try sending it now. Now that it was, oh, okay. Well, that kind of worked. And then paint it, I don't know. Isn't there like a fill here somewhere? Can't even remember. It's kind of a weird yellowy color. Oops. Just so there's some variation to look at. And let's send this back to Maya. All this, whatever. What do I have to do? Yeah. So the lesson there was export as an OBJ and then import as an OBJ and then get rid of the original and then it should be able to be sent to Mudbox. So yeah, you're doing okay overall. Again, I think some variation in the areas that are just solid color and eyeball spherical and some detail in the eyeballs.